Hello, beautiful beings. In today's video, we're going to talk about a very important consciousness and spiritual principle that, if you get it, is going to change how you view yourself, the world, and how you relate to that world, which is going to change how you interact with that world, how you attract abundance into your life, and how you live and feel and experience your world. And this concept is everything is a concept. Everything is an idea. So let's get right into it. And if you haven't yet, remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and also hit the notification button. You know why. So what do I mean when I say everything is a concept? How do you identify anything? How do you know what something is? Think about it for a second. You know because you learned it, right? Because someone taught you. How do you know what this is? How do you know what this is? And how do you know what this is? Someone taught you, right? At some point, someone taught you. Think about it. When a baby comes into this world, the baby doesn't know what anything is. They're just kind of like looking around, just looking. They have no judgment of anything. They don't know how to identify anything. They're just experiencing, right? This and this. Would they know the difference? Or a little kid? I mean, even if you look here, like the colors look kind of interesting too with the way the light's shining on it. So this one's a lemon and this one is an orange. And how do you tell? We know because this one's got like a kind of funny different shape, slightly different shape. And the color, right? That's how we know which one's a lemon and which one's an orange. But a kid who's never seen these before, a little baby, a little baba, 1-2 year old who sees this isn't going to know what these are at all. In fact, that's why kids ask so many questions. Why is this? What is that? Why is that? What is this? And then we give them the answer. So if a kid, think about it, sees this for the first time and has no idea what it is and experiences it as this beautiful kind of, it smells a certain way and it's got a certain texture and it's got a certain color, and just experiences it for what it is. Doesn't label it, nothing. It just experiences this thing. But then mommy tells the little kid that, hey, this is an orange. And then the kid sees another one like this, or kind of like looks the same. And then instead of experiencing each one as it is, each time it doesn't experience what's actually in front of him or her, but rather experiences what they've learned it to be. So I've learned that this is an orange. So when I see this fruit and I start eating it, I'm going to assume it's an orange and I'm going to experience it as an orange. I mean, have you ever had, in South Africa, we call them nachos, and I think you call them, there's so many names for it. A minneola, a clementine. They all kind of look the same, right? But we know this is an orange because the skin is kind of different. But you could very easily eat a clementine and think that that's a minneola, or eat a minneola and think that that's a clementine. But only once you've been told the difference will you experience it as a minneola and experience it as a clementine. Once you've been taught what a concept is, your mind learns what the concept is, and then your mind will then, when it sees this, identifies this, and then you experience the situation as such. It's the same reason that maybe someone dates a guy who's got dark black hair and a beard, and this guy's a real like chauvinist towards them, and then the next time they meet a guy with dark black hair and a beard, they kind of want to avoid him because the last guy that they dated with a dark black hair and a beard was a chauvinist. So when people start identifying specific characteristics with something, they then think that those characteristics are going to play out in the next situation or in the next thing that resembles it. It's also why we repeat the same sort of patterns. It's why our lives don't change, and it's why history often just repeats itself, both personally and on a global scale. Awareness can be defined as experiencing something as the way that you individually experience it, as opposed to experiencing it the way that you've been taught. So to use the orange example, that would be to experience this as though you've never seen it before, and not get stuck on the concept and what you've learned about what an orange tastes like, what it smells like, what it looks like, what it feels like. So why is this important? Well, it's very important when we start getting to bigger concepts like that of love, for example. So if we've been fed specific ideas about how love is supposed to be and how love plays out, we may actually be experiencing love with someone else and maybe even feel that way, but what it looks like doesn't match up what we were taught to believe. Or we resist actually having that in our lives because it doesn't match up with the other images and the other ideas that we've been taught about how our love is supposed to be. It's a really debilitating concept and has been one in society. For example, I'm from South Africa, so we have a history of apartheid. So what that means were people of color were told that they were not good enough, they had to walk around with ID books and passbooks and were arrested if they did not have one. And this wasn't too long ago. It was only in 1994 that the country was officially clear, properly now a democracy. So it's still pretty recent. But that in itself, being told a person of color is not good enough, that itself is a concept. It doesn't necessarily make it true. It's just an idea. It's something that someone came up with and then told a whole bunch of people that looked a particular way that was the situation. And then because people started believing it, it became something that actually allowed for an entire system to develop. Enough people who had enough power believed in it, and there we go. You have a system where a whole bunch of people are imprisoned. So if you can understand that you can understand how concepts can then affect our lives. Being a person of color myself, that's greatly influenced my view on myself and what I am worth and what I can do, because I had to fight through a lot of like, okay, this is weird. Like, I know this is not true, but I still have this belief that I'm not good enough. And it comes from years of ancestral trauma of that being fed into the psyche of a bloodline from which I'm from. If we've been taught specific concepts about, okay, this is an orange, this is a chair, this is a table, this is love, this is justice, this is mercy, this is abundance, this is good, this is bad. If we've been taught what those things are when we come into the world, to really take it deeper and to understand how you are a spiritual being and probably way bigger than you know, or more wonderful and divine and powerful than you know, is to understand if we've been taught concepts and taught how concepts function, the very notion of how we think has also been taught to us. Just take a step back. You're taught what an orange is. You're taught what love is. You're taught what a house is. You're taught what money is. You're taught what success is. You're taught what privilege is. And all of those ideas make up a system. They make up a construct by which we live. And if you're coming into the world as a newborn baby, you haven't been exposed to another, well, unless you're coming from somewhere special. Maybe you are, your soul is, and you've been exposed to something else. But more on that in other videos. But if you're coming to this space and you're being taught how to think about what things are, you're also being taught how to think. So right now, where you are now, the fact that I'm using words, the fact that I'm using logic, the fact that I'm explaining the concepts and the ideas themselves, that in itself, the form, the construct that we're using to communicate is an idea itself. We just don't really question it, because when we come here, it's one of the first things that we're taught. And the people who've been on the planet, they may not question it themselves because it's what they were taught. And think about it, if you keep teaching what was taught before, chances are mistakes are going to repeat themselves. So let's say that again. If you keep teaching what was taught before, chances are mistakes are going to repeat themselves. My personal point of view, if we really want to change the world, we have to look at the way that we even think, the way that we communicate, the way that we use our minds, and realize that there maybe are other possibilities of communicating. For example, have you ever hugged someone you really love without saying anything? You could feel that emotion. You could feel that you're sharing that with someone else. That in itself is a way of communicating. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, beautiful beings. Just let that roast and simmer and digest a little bit. So last week I did a video where I spoke about the notion of perspective and perception and how that influences perception. So if we've been taught a specific way to think and we've been taught a specific way to perceive and experience the world, if you haven't watched this video yet, watch it, then what does that mean about the world that we currently live in and how we understand it? If we've been taught how to think about the world and we can understand that there are then different perceptions and perspectives on the world, us in itself, the way that we currently think, the way that we currently perceive, whether it's concepts such as spirituality, whether it's concepts such as religion, or even just as simple as an orange, and even if it's the way that we teach and speak with one another, what other possibilities exist? Because if that in itself is a concept, what is beyond that? And that, according to A Course in Miracles, if you don't know, that's a channeled book. I think it was channeled in the, I'll put the date up. I can't remember exactly. I think it was in the 70s. They say the highest thought that you can have from an ego perspective is to understand that there is a different perception. That there is a different perception and different way of perceiving the world that we do now. Remember, if we're taught specific concepts about the world when we get here, we're taught how to see the world, we're taught how to view that world, and that in itself, that is a perception we're being taught, that's a concept we're being taught. So, is there another way of perceiving the world? That's the first question I want you to ask yourself. Then I want you to have a look over here. Now you see I've got other questions, I've labeled them 1, 2, 3. So we've had our first question, which is there another perception? But these 3 questions are really important for you to get if you want to experience your world differently. If you want to start experiencing more abundance in your world, and if you want to start being more happy and peaceful, then these are 3 questions you've got to start asking yourself. And it's going to have the result where you grow spiritually and your consciousness expands too. First question is, if everything is an idea, what is abundance? We've been taught what abundance is. We've been taught how that looks. But is that your idea of abundance? Or is that society's idea of abundance? Is it your parents' idea of abundance? Abundance really doesn't have to mean a whole bunch of money. Does it? I don't know. You tell me. Second, if everything is an idea, what does that say about me and what I've been taught? So the you that you think you are, whether just in your normal, whoever you are as a person, what does it say about the ideas you have associated with your race, with your nationality, with your gender, with your name, with the country that you come from, with your idea of what it means to be a person, that you're only a person. And then the third question you've got to ask yourself is, if everything is an idea, what else is possible? So we've been taught ideas about what abundance and success and happiness and love and blessings are supposed to be like. But what I want you to start considering right now is, if these are all ideas, then surely we live in a world of ideas. And if I share this idea with you, this idea, it doesn't lose itself. It doesn't become less. This idea is an idea that I've read about in A Course in Miracles. I've noticed it myself. This idea has then been shared to me. I've taken it on. I'm sharing it with you. The idea doesn't become less. It becomes greater. So when you can start thinking about the world being a world of ideas, what else is possible? What does that mean? What does that mean for the way that you live your life? What does that mean for now? Now we're currently experiencing a pandemic and everybody's going, oh my word, things aren't working. So beautiful beings, I just want you to consider that. Ideas don't lose anything. So if this world is in a world of ideas, and ideas don't lessen or decrease, in fact, when I share an idea with you and you share an idea with someone else, those ideas actually expand. And if we can understand that ideas are what this world is made of, and that in itself is expanding when we share different ideas, ask yourself this question: what kind of ideas do you want to be sharing? Yes. So beautiful beings, I'm going to tell you a little secret. When I'm speaking, I can actually feel like there's a being taking over me and actually wanting to speak through me. So I'm going to start channeling very direct messages from this being and know exactly who is coming through. So beautiful beings, I hope this shifted you somehow, shifted your perspective, helped you view the world in a more expansive way and yourself in a more expansive way. I'd be really keen to know, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Subscribe. Like this video and remember to hit the notification button. And thank you so much for your exquisite time. It's been my exquisite pleasure to spend this time with you. And as always, beautiful beings, I wish you love. Bye, beautiful beings.